Now I'd like to call our next author to summarize his paper, Towards Reinventing Microfinance Through Solving the Last Mile Problem, Bringing Clean Energy Solutions and Actionable Information to the Poor. So for the next 10 minutes, we'll be listening to Mr. Alex Counts summarizing the paper.
Thank you very much. It's a big job to summarize a 43-page paper in 10 minutes, but I'm going to do my best. But first, I want to thank of the 4 people who helped me with this the most. 2 of them are here, Julia Arnold, my colleague who's in the front row, and Nikki Armacost, who's on the panel, and I want to thank them very much. I also want to thank you, Sam. Sam gave me my first unpaid internship many years ago. Sam gave me my first slightly paid job a few years after that. And in the process, he repurposed my life like he did for thousands of other people, and as a result, we have a new world. So thank you very much, Sam. So, microfinance has been going through an interesting period, as we all have been talking about. But I think these criticisms, both those that are valid and those that are made up, give us an opportunity to reflect. We have many strengths. We've also grown fast and sometimes compromised quality for growth. But let's take advantage of that growth. Let's take advantage of the network that we collectively represent. And what I'm going to talk about in this paper is how we can use that network to bring clean energy solutions and information to the poor that will help them in their journey out of poverty. So what does microfinance look like from at least my perspective in 2011? It's been criticized, sometimes unfairly, but there are real issues. Products that are, the prices and the design are not right, they're in some cases, and they're not really designed for the different segments of the poor in the way that Foncosé has done so well, and some groups have. Staff training has been cut back in some cases, and incentives are not aligned with client benefit. Over-indebtedness has come into play. Profits have been rising, and people have been picking up on that and wondering what we're going to do with these profits, especially when they go disproportionately to investors and employees who are not poor. And so civil society is now raising real questions about microfinance. So how can we respond? I'm going to outline several priorities and then focus on the last one in this paper. Consumer protection is a must. We need to roll that out under the leadership of organizations like the Center for Financial Inclusion that are providing leadership. We also need to develop things that go beyond protecting clients about standards for advancing clients, and this is where the Seal of Excellence comes in, and we're so supportive of that. We need to realign the incentives between client benefit, investor benefit, and other stakeholders, and we need to work together more. Sometimes we're a very insular industry, and I think that reinvigorating collective action vehicles and creating new ones, and I'm proud to have been a part of a new entity called the Microfinance CEOs Working Group that's U.S. networks, CEOs coming together to learn from each other and to figure out how to raise standards and raise performance and what we can do for that. But what I'm going to focus on in this paper is basically how we can deal with 2 other dimensions of poverty, from economic poverty, energy poverty, and information poverty, and how microfinance can lead on that. First of all, climate change. Despite what some politicians say in countries like my own, it is real. It's coming. Poor will be the major victims of it, but they can also help slow and reduce it by adopting cleaner technologies than we've adopted. And MFIs can also help the poor prepare for climate change, even as they help them adopt better, cleaner technologies. And there's a paper about this that we put out by Asif Dowla, Bangladeshi professor in the U.S., and take a look at that also. So energy poverty. So the poor basically pay a lot for their energy. It's dirty energy. It makes them sick, and it makes the planet sick. In fact, indoor air pollution kills more people now than malaria and TB combined, and it's on course to take more lives than AIDS within 20 years. 1.7 billion people don't have any access to electricity, and in fact, they're willing to pay for it. They're already paying for energy, and the market gap here is huge, larger, and if MFIs were to rise to the challenge of meeting it, they could double and triple their loan portfolios and their models of how to do this. So there are solutions. Again, the poor are already demonstrating they're willing to spend in some cases a quarter of their income on energy. Again, clean, dirty energy and inefficient energy for the most part. But cleaner options exist. Solar home systems, micro-utilities where someone will buy a solar system and then sell the energy to their neighbors or other businesses. Biogas plants, improved cook stoves, insulation for homes, solar lanterns, and what we've learned, in fact what Nikki helped me understand, is that improved cook stoves, which can go for as little as $13, pound for pound have the biggest potential to actually slow climate change. So in the paper we focused on a lot of organizations, various countries. It was a great learning journey for me and the people who work with me on it. Also, there were some partners in the information work that I'll speak about at the end. So let me talk about the great success story Professor Yunus did the other day, Grameen Shakti. Energy I've spent a lot of very dark nights in Bangladeshi villages because there was no electricity, no nothing, maybe some kerosene lanterns. And Grameen Shakti has, you can see from here, has gone a long way to meeting the demand in Bangladesh. In fact, the solar home systems, they're doing 1,000 a day installations, doing it profitably, even though they are a nonprofit. So that figure of 539,000, which was the end of 2010, will reach 1 million by the end of 2011. Why have they succeeded? We go into this in the paper, but the financing has really been honed over the years to be affordable to the poor, and so inconvenient for the money that this saves them. Customer service is outstanding, and the servicing issue, which has stymied a lot of clean energy projects. They've trained thousands of youth and women, unemployed youth and women, to actually do the servicing, creating jobs and helping where a lot of these programs have fallen down, which is on servicing things once they're installed. Now, Haz Bank in Mongolia is also a very different success story, where they provide 2 energy products in the most polluted city in the world. The insulation blankets for the yurts, and those insulation blankets, think about it, they've reduced the carbon emissions from 8 tons to 3 tons immediately. They also have a highly efficient wood-burning stove. And just to look at the economics of it, before a family adopts this insulation, they're spending $70 a month on fuel for heating and cooking. After they do it, their bill is $60, which includes $23, which is the payment for the loan payment. And within 14 months, it's paid off, and it pays for itself, and they're free and clear, and the planet is cleaner as a result. And the group Microcredits, which is represented here from Seattle, co-run by a former colleague of mine with Grameen Foundation, has been able to tap into the carbon credits as a way to keep the interest rate low. Now, information poverty is another dimension of poverty that microfinance can address. There's so much that is being learned about the world around us that could help the poor, but they rarely get it, and they rarely get it in time in a way they can understand. They need information that can benefit around agriculture, weather forecasts, health, markets and market prices, jobs, education, and information needs to have certain parameters to be really useful. To be told that there's a pesticide or something that's available in Europe that can help a crop from failing is not really useful for a farmer in Uganda. The question is, what is there available right there to them that they can use? And so the mobile revolution, with the right applications and databases and tinkering, can actually help get this information to people in time. And so this is where Grameen Foundation, took the village phone idea, an early micro-franchise, and transformed village phone operators into community knowledge workers. And these are farmers themselves who are taught how to use their phone and access some applications that have put in best practices on agriculture, and can both download that information for a farmer when they need it to save a crop, to increase yields. They can also collect information from the farmers about what's happening, and for a fee give that information to the corporations, to the government, and basically get information up to policymakers before a blight ruins a whole crop, because this is sometimes the most quickest way to get information on what's going on at the grassroots level, using the mobile phone as a data capture device. Microfinance clients and staff can play the role of community knowledge worker. And in our program, we've just started with the support of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and others. We've got almost 800 serving 45,000 farmers, and they report that the farmers report that 85% of them have actually adopted a new practice based on information they got from one of their peers using the phone and this tool. And we use the Progress Out of Poverty Index, our social performance tool, to track over time how they're actually improving their economic conditions. Lastly, I'll close. In fact, we collect right on the phone, created an application. You can upload in real time the PPI data on the phone, and it goes immediately into a database. So we have an opportunity to rethink microfinance business model and less naivete about what governments and what the media may do and say about us, but also frankly, less greed. Those of us who are already free from poverty to be somewhat modest about what we're trying to take out of and investors take out of microfinance. And maybe we can take out a lot when poverty is defeated, when our organizations have made enormous progress, but let's wait for that. Second of all, microfinances can start to really utilize this network that we've created because there's so many solutions in many domains. I've just named two that can benefit the poor, but those solutions stay stuck in laboratories and university classrooms and corporate boardrooms, or sometimes just literally 1 mile from the poor person who could benefit from it. MFIs are on the ground and can deliver it. The low-hanging fruit on the issue of the energy, by the way, may not be financing the poor to buy these technologies, but financing through SME type of lending, poor and middle-class people to sell it to the poor, especially the improved cook stoves and things like that. And lastly, as I said, the growth of the mobile phone revolution. There are 4 billion mobile phones and growing very quickly in the developing world. People are getting very familiar with this technology, and with some re-engineering and some smart use of that infrastructure, we can get all of this information that could so much benefit for the poor in the right context, in time, and help them in their journeys out of poverty. Thank you very much.